So today I'm talking about a Kia with the P0140 code, what it is, and how you go about fixing it. So what is a Kia P0140 code? Well, it's an O2 sensor, circuit no activity detected, bank 1 sensor 2. And what does this mean? Well, the onboard computer uses oxygen sensors located on the exhaust to know how much oxygen has been burnt off during combustion, and it's seen a problem with one of these, so I have to be troubleshooted to know why. And bank 1 is always the side of the engine with the number 1 cylinder, and sensor 2 is always the second sensor going down on the exhaust. And some of the possible causes of this, well, it could be a bad sensor, could be in the wiring, could be a bad connection, and possibly a blown fuse. And so the first thing to do when you get this code is to go locate bank 1 sensor 2 oxygen sensor on your particular Kia, since there can be some differences. And there can be multiple sensors. There's usually 2, but there can be more, so it's a good idea to get a diagram for your particular year of Kia and engine type to know for sure what's going on. But 2 is very common. And what's going on with these is you have sensor 1, which is before the catalytic converter, also called the upstream. Then you have sensor 2, which is after the catalytic converter, also called the downstream sensor. And so the one you want to go locate is the sensor 2 downstream oxygen sensor. And so once you locate it, the next thing to do is go check out this wiring real good. Be sure it looks like it's all plugged in, that the connections are all good, that there's nothing going on with it. And basically just keep in mind that if anything's wrong with the wiring, if there's an open, a short, or anything like this, then it's going to be the same symptoms as a bad sensor. So you want to keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that this is on a fuse, and the fuse box will be located inside the engine compartment. There'll be a fuse in there for these sensors. On Kias, it's usually labeled sensor 1, but sometimes it can be different. Again, it depends on the Kia year. But for example, here's a 2013 Kia Optima, and right here, sensor 1, you have the downstream O2 sensor, upstream O2 sensor, which will be right here. If that fuse was to blow, then it could cause a problem. So that's something to keep in mind and something you could check. And so if you go through and you check out that wiring, the wiring looks good, there's no blown fuses or anything like that, then very likely the oxygen sensor is just bad and just needs to be replaced. You can test it if you want to. There's some good YouTube videos on that you can go check out if you want to test it. One thing to keep in mind is that you often need this special tool to get it back in, since that wire's there. Not all the time, since it can depend. It'll depend on what kind of tools you have. If you have a deep well socket, quite often you can cut this wire, you could get on it to get it off, and then when you put the new one back in, you can use an open-end wrench to get around that wire. But again, it's going to vary. Sometimes they're indented down where you almost need that special tool, so you have to go and look at it to be sure what's going on. But just keep in mind, you might need this special tool to get it back in and get around that wire. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to give a real quick brief overview of how you go about fixing a Kia with the P0140 code. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.